Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to use my factoring rule sheet. So go get it out. If you didn't get one from me, then go to D2L under Content and go to First Day Handouts and find it and download it. It's got two sides. So this is something I want you to use every single time that you are factoring. So when you are learning factoring, only watch my videos. Do not watch videos from anywhere else. Now, when I teach you through the videos how to factor, I teach you Rule 1, then Rule 4, then Rule 3A and 3B, and then finally Rule 2. And in order to learn about Rule 2, or to work your way through it to know whether what you have to factor is in Rule 2 or not, we have all these questions on the back side. So when you get to Rule 2, you will turn this over and you'll ask questions. Is what you're looking at a binomial? Well, binomial, remember, means two terms. So two, think of bicycle, two wheels, two terms. Once you've answered yes or no, if your answer is yes, then it tells you to go on to question number 2, and you ask that. If it tells you no, if your answer is no, then you go on to question number 6. Question number 6 says, is it a trinomial? Again, if your answer is yes, it tells you to go to question 7. But if your answer is no, it tells you to go to Rule 4. So these are questions for Rule number 2. All of these are the rules. This sheet does not teach you how to factor. My videos will do that. This sheet is to be used after you have figured out or learned how to factor, and then this steps you through it every single time. Now, when you use it, do not jump around. You must go from rule number 1, then rule number 2, rule number 3, rule number 4, etc. You will decide rule number 1, yes or no. That's the very, very important rule. Never, ever skip it. Then go on to rule number 2. If that applies, use it. If it doesn't, you go on to rule 3, A or B, or rule 4. But do not skip around. Rule number 2 is patterns, difference of squares. This is what it starts out looking like. This is what it goes to. Rule number 2 is also the other pattern that we work with. Is called perfect square trinomial. Be sure to use both of these names, difference of squares and perfect square trinomial. And this is what it starts out looking like, and this is what you put it into. On the back side, at the top, this is just a picture of everything that's on this side. When I'm using it, I'm always talking about this over here, but that's very wordy. Sometimes if you like to do it in a picture form better, then look at rule number 1, which is your GCF, the greatest common factor. Over here is rule number 2, either under binomial for the difference of squares or trinomial for perfect square trinomial. Rule number 3A and 3B is for trinomials. And then rule number 4 is for factoring by grouping, 4 terms. So you use this every single time you are factoring until such time as you realize you factored something and you realize, oh my gosh, I didn't use my factoring rule sheet. Alice is going to kill me. And then you look and you see you got it right. When you do that 7 times, not necessarily 7 times in a row, but 7 times, then you finally will not need this anymore. Do not memorize the rules. Memorize them by using them. You may use this on all quizzes in this unit. My hope is that you won't need it by the test, but that's negotiable. This is like gold. Hang on to it. Use it. I've had students come back from both 121 and even from calculus begging me to have another one. So this is really, really good when you learn how to use it.